Hello Gemini, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is your weekly tarot forecast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. That way you won't miss any of the weekly tarot forecasts that we do for your sign here on the channel. All right, so what is the message coming through for Gemini? What is it that you need to know? What is the energy? What is the situation? Let's find out. With our first card today being, the Hermit card. All right, well, the Hermit hasn't come out as the first card in quite a while. Let's put that into some context, shall we? And lay out the rest of our Dove and Serpent spread. All right, that's going to include a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're not going to look at this until the very end, and that is hopefully going to tie the reading together, give us that confirmation that we're looking for at the very end, okay? So I'm kind of grimacing a little bit because we do have a lot of major arcana here today. It seems to me like there is some major events going on in your life. It really seems like it's an important time for you. I don't know quite yet what's going on, but it seems that there is a bit of urgency in your life right now. It's kind of it feels like a very heavy situation going on, okay? And with all of this major arcana card, not sure where to really start, but I guess we'll start with this Hermit card that came out first. And this, I think, this situation is really one where I feel like you're starting to withdraw from things a little bit, right? Something that's going on in your external world is motivating you to kind of turn inwards for answers a little bit. Okay, so maybe there is some sort of confusion going on in your life, I almost think there's some sort of conflict with a particular person, okay? I think it might be related to romance or at least a close relationship, but it's something from which you're starting to withdraw, okay? The Hermit here is saying that, the events in your outer life, in the external world, right, are just not in harmony with you right now. And so this Hermit is turning away from those events, turning away from maybe that negative energy, that toxic relationship, those bad vibes, okay? And it's really about turning inwards and looking for guidance and looking for answers within you, okay? Because whatever is going on in your life right now seems to me to be pretty heavy. Seems like it's a major thing. Maybe you're going through a rough patch with your romantic partner. Maybe there's some sort of turmoil at home or in one of your very close relationships. It seems like there's something going on, some major, I'm hesitant to use the word crisis, but it feels that way to me, okay? And before we get to the other card that's crossing this Hermit this week, I want to get to some of these other cards to see if we can put this into some context. What are you kind of turning away from? What are you trying to withdraw from? Or what are you trying to kind of escape from? Right? Because the Hermit really is, it gives me this idea that the events of your life right now are so intense that the only thing that you can think of to do is to remove yourself from that situation, right? And if you can't get out of the situation physically, you're at least like turning inwards and you're kind of like self-isolating a little bit. And you're just spending more time alone. You're really just in your head and in your thoughts more. And you're trying to disengage from this reality, this situation that you're in, okay? And we're going to do things in a little bit of a different order today, which, usually I like to go from the recent past into the current situation and then what might be in the immediate future. But today we see a couple of cards here on the vertical axis on the path of the dove that seem to be pretty severe, pretty major, and I want to get to these immediately, right, before we deal with anything else, just to kind of get this out of the way for one. And then two, if this is a kind of a crisis situation, if it is this intense of a situation, I want to make sure that we address it and recognize that first. And then if you have to leave this video, or if you have to turn your device off or something to go take care of this or to focus on this or whatever the case may be, then then that's okay, and I want you to do that. The first card that I'm talking about is this Nine of Swords. Now, if you're a follower of this channel, you know that this Nine of Swords, never really a good card, right? We never really like to see this in a reading. Sometimes this is indicating that there's some truth, there's some fact of this situation that you're not seeing, right? And it's one of those painful truths, okay? So it could be that there's something going on here that you're just not recognizing yet. Now, this card is at the top of the path of the dove, and you know what that means. It's kind of that nutshell card. Okay, it's what is encapsulating or summarizing the entire reading today. And this is about some sort of mistreatment. Okay, this is some sort of animosity, anger, cruelty. It could be that in this situation, if this is a romantic situation, and I have a little bit of reason to think it might be in terms of a romantic partner, or at least somebody that you're very close with, someone maybe that you live with, or someone that you have a very close bond with. So, my mind first goes to like a domestic partner, a romantic partner, something like that. But there's something going on there where the interaction with this person has just devolved into such a venomous exchange, okay? It seems like the two of you are just kind of hurling these like poison-tipped daggers at each other, figuratively speaking. And that is kind of manifesting as just there's some really bad blood between the two of you. It seems like there's a lot of fighting, and maybe not even like the outward fighting, the, excited, explosive kind of, loud and external fighting, but it's more now of just like it's sunk to such a more subtle level, where it's just like more cloak and dagger kind of things, where there are just some treachery going on. There are some acts of disrespect and of malice, really. I feel like it's kind of now almost like a mortal enemy kind of situation. And I hope I'm not on the right track here. I hope that's not at all what's going on. But I feel like within that situation, there is something about it that you're not recognizing. Maybe you're not seeing how the two of you just don't like each other anymore, right? Or the two of you are just so far apart now, or so out of sync, out of harmony, that there's really no communication that's not kind of tinged with this blood, with this animosity, with this poison, with this venom, okay? So it seems like it really has just kind of become a nasty deal, right? And it may be that you're not really willing to acknowledge that, or you're not ready to accept that as the final fact, okay? You're not really willing to accept that, look, this is just not working. Like when the two of you get into a room together, it always like comes to this just kind of nasty exchange, right? This just kind of, insulting and this really malicious and almost cruel kind of exchange. And I think that's kind of the nature of the situation. And that's what we're really talking about this week, is this environment that you're in where there's this kind of exchange with this person, okay? And I think it's something that you're not really willing to acknowledge or to admit or to accept that is the fact. But nevertheless, I think you understand that when you're in this situation, when you're in this room with this person, it always becomes this Nine of Swords, right? This is kind of the only level of communication that the two of you have now, is just sarcastic, venomous, kind of mean exchange, and it seems to be like that really is coloring the relationship now, okay? Just beneath the surface here, just beneath the Hermit card on the path of the dove, is the Tower card. And this is something that, yes, something maybe that you aren't really recognizing. This is some force, some power, some element of the situation that is just barely at the subconscious level, okay? So it's something that I think you're aware of mostly, but you're just kind of getting these little hints or glimpses of it. And honestly, this is telling me that this relationship is just over. That whatever structure or stability or foundation that you had with this person is gone. I think that it was maybe built on a weak foundation. Maybe it wasn't very stable to begin with, but like this Tower card, it's being rocked and it's being turned to rubble. Okay? And I think this is part of this painful truth, this painful situation that you're aware of, but perhaps not quite ready to accept or to acknowledge the finality of it. Okay, does that make sense? I think you know intuitively that this is pretty much coming down around you, right? The building is coming down. But I think it's something that you are still holding on to, something that you're not quite ready to let go of or accept. And because you're still holding on to it, it's creating a lot of this animosity when the two of you get together, right? Because you're almost trying to force something to remain when it's kind of past its expiration date, you know? I would almost expect to see maybe a little bit of art or temperance card here, but I think it's beyond that even, you know, trying to make it work. I think it's just, it really is in such a bad way now that the final thing for you really to do is to accept that it's not going to work. Accept the finality of it. Accept that this is over. Because I think this is such a toxic situation that it's doing damage to you emotionally, right? Spiritually. And I think it's beyond recovery. Okay, and I hate to say that. I apologize for saying that. But if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I don't sugarcoat anything, right? I call the cards how I see them, how I feel them, the messages that I receive, okay? And on different days, in different circumstances, with different energy, different vibes, with whatever the aura of these cards happens to be on a particular day, these messages could be very different, okay? But right now, this picture is looking like a rather dire one. Okay, and I'm holding these two cards up for an extended time for a reason, because I'm trying to allow this to sink in. Okay, and I think that with some reflection, with this Hermit energy, with some of this kind of escaping from this situation or withdrawing from it, this disengagement from actively interacting with this person, right? From willingly entering into those, you know, rather painful exchanges, you know, rather than sinking to that level and continuing with this venomous exchange. I think the Hermit energy is here this week to allow you the opportunity to step back, withdraw from that, right? Turn your attention inward, find your own guiding light, your own guiding principle, your own guardian angels, spirit guides. Really tap into your intuition, tap into your higher self, open up that dialogue again. And the way to this is to withdraw from this situation. Okay? Because there's no good that's going to come from this, other than you opening up communication with your higher self, your intuition, your spirit guides, your guardian angel. Okay. So the main focus, I think, this week is to, at least on one axis here, is to withdraw from this painful situation, withdraw from this engagement, this venomous exchange with this person. Just refuse to do it anymore. Just remain silent. Turn your attention inwards, reconnect with yourself, spirit guide, guardian angel, etc. Okay? And as far as that connection goes, well, this is the card that I was waiting on, is the Star card. And this really is what's crossing your path with this Hermit card this week. Okay, so this is exactly what I was just talking about. This is reconnecting with that intuition, that spirit guide, that guardian angel. And that is only done through kind of, quiet meditation or by withdrawing from this chaotic external situation. Okay? You have to silence that aspect of yourself. I know part of you wants to continue to engage, and there's still that part of you that doesn't want to let go of this. But in order to move on, in order to get past this, which we see a lot of good stuff happening after this is taken care of, right? There has to be that withdrawal. That hermit energy has to be allowed to just kind of wrap you in that cloak and bring you inward, bring you into yourself, center you, ground you, right? The hermit rules Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. It's all about grounding, right? Being centered, finding your core, finding yourself again, finding the solid ground beneath your feet. And that's something that we each have to do relatively alone. Even in a crowded room, we have to experience that ourselves. Okay? And that's what the hermit plus the star card is really saying this week, is that you have to find your center, find the ground beneath your feet, and with that you can connect with the higher power, the higher energies, the mystery of the universe, right? Whatever you want to call it, guardian angel, higher self, spirit guides, there are many different terms, but that is the idea, and that connection is going to give you that knowledge, that intuition, that understanding, that wisdom, that certainty and confidence that you are now capable of moving on with your life into the future, getting past this situation, rising above it. Because also we have this star card, right? And the star rules Aquarius. Aquarius is the air. It's about like new ideas and kind of freedom and allowing your spirit to kind of soar, right? So we have the ground and we have the sky. So we have the above and the below. And I think that's very meaningful here, because I think you have to put yourself on that path in order to move on from this situation. I don't think you would be here today if this was, just kind of a good thing for you, right? There's a reason why you're here today watching this video. And I think it's because you know intuitively or even semi-consciously that this situation is no good for you, toxic, painful on one level or another, and it's time to move on. I think the hermit and the star is the way to move on, the way that you're going to move into your future. Okay? And now we're going to do the horizontal axis of the path of the dove. We see this 6 of discs here, and this is in the recent past. I think at one point this whole situation was pretty good. I think there was a lot of harmony, a lot of success. It could be, though, that the two of you really bonded or really kind of began this relationship. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. Okay, this could be, a business relationship. It could be a domestic, family, friends, wherever this relationship is taking place. I think it was based on these a mutual interest in the physical world. Okay, so it could be maybe it began as just a purely physical relationship in a romantic sense, right? It could be that this was a relationship that began over a work project. It could be a coworker. It could be someone that you have this shared physical interest with, maybe health and wellness. It may be a sexual commonality. It may be, like I said, a work thing, a work project, coworker, some sort of shared physical connection. Okay, I think that's where this relationship began, and that might have been that foundation. Remember that I said was maybe not too stable or strong to begin with, because maybe it was just based, the connection was based on just this one thing, this one physical thing. And the one thing about the physical world, right, is that it's in constant change, constant flux. right? Everything is in a process of death and rebirth continually, every moment, every instant. So it could be that this wasn't a very strong foundation. It began very harmoniously with this really kind of awesome connection with whatever this is, if a financial, a work thing, or a physical thing. And it seemed really good, but that was kind of all there was. And when that changed, or when that began to go through its cycles, its ebbs and flows, right? Maybe the two of you are realizing that there is not a whole lot else there. Okay. So that's the recent past, or that's the history of this situation, I think. And then we move into the Hermit and the Star card, which we talked about, and the immediate future. The immediate future is the Two of Discs. Now we went from the Six of Discs, which is Earth, into this Hermit energy, which is Virgo, which is Earth. And then we go to the Two of Discs, more Earth. So it really is about a kind of a chronological or a linear development of this situation. Okay, we saw how it began. We saw what is going on now. And in the near future, it's going to have to be a change. You're going to have to physically change something, right? You're going to have to physically do something, either move, change jobs, change departments, ask that person to leave, physically break up the relationship. There's going to have to be some sort of action on the physical plane. Take some physical steps to get this thing going, get it through, right? And I think this period of kind of contemplation, meditation, reconnecting with yourself and your spirit guide, your guardian angel, getting that connection and that communication flowing with your intuition, with your higher self, is going to give you the guidance that you need to make this change. Okay? And this is in some ways saying that the situation is going to change whether you like it or not, because as we said, nothing in the physical realm lasts. Nothing is ever stagnant. Nothing ever is standing still. Right? Everything on this material plane is constantly flowing. Flux, reflux, ebb, flow, constantly. Right? So the change is happening, whether you like it or not, right? And it's either you're going to be swept away with it, or you're going to have a little bit of control over it, a little bit of conscious awareness of what's happening and how you can adapt, how you can try to influence the progression of events going into the future, right? Because change is happening all around you. It's just a matter of whether you're going to sleep through it or if you're going to be wide awake and try to do what you can to ensure the best outcome. Okay? But also with the Two of Discs, this is most of the time a very good change, a very fortunate change of events for you. So I think the kind of negative energy that we see in the situation now, that's going to improve. Things are going to get better, but it's going to be through change that your circumstances will improve. Okay, does that make some sense? I think we're going to move over now to the path of the Serpent and see if we can get a little bit more idea of what's going on with you, what the future might look like, what your path might be going into the future, or just some more details about this situation. First of all, I see that you're really focused mentally. Okay, you really have this one idea that you're holding on to. And it could be this, usually the Ace of Swords here is a very good card. This is usually a very, very strong card, very positive, very hopeful and optimistic card. This card usually tells me that someone has tremendous focus, concentration, that they're so committed to one idea that there's no way they're going to fail at it, right? And this card is in the position of your general energy right now. But in terms of this situation, I feel like this is you holding on to what you thought this relationship was. This is you with that one thing in mind. You're holding on to that one ideal, that one vision of the relationship, and you won't let it go. Right? So I feel like this is kind of clinging to what you thought this relationship was or what it should be. And it's difficult for you to let this go. Difficult for you to accept what we're calling the kind of painful reality of it. Because you have this one idea of what it should be, what you want it to be, what it maybe could have been or was at one time. But you won't let this go. And it seems like nothing is really able to change your mind here. Okay? So I see that this has been your general energy. And I think the Hermit, the Star card, is going to help with that. I think that just some taking a step back, withdrawing from this situation might give you a little bit more of an objective viewpoint. A little bit of detachment might help you see things clearly, right? But I see generally you're holding on to this with all your might, and you don't want to let it go. Okay. And then the next card that we come to is it's the one court card that we have. It's in the position of your relationship itself, how you are relating to this person or what their nature might be. So I really think this card is a strong indication of this other person involved. Okay. Sometimes these court cards can mean a few different things. I think it's pretty clear today this is representing the person that we're talking about. I think they are emotionally manipulative, but in a rather unconscious way. I think they may be kind of immature in their emotional expression, to the point that their moods fluctuate, the way they project their emotions onto you, onto other people, I'm sure, but in this relationship, the way they are projecting their emotions is very manipulative, okay? And I don't think it's something that they really do consciously. I think they aren't really aware of how they express their emotions, but when they do, it's with this very dramatic, very kind of forceful, very, manipulative kind of way. And I think that is part of the issue here, is that the two of you never learned really to connect on that emotional level in a more mature way, right? In this immature emotional energy, it's like you can connect on emotions, but in a very superficial way, or in a way that's constantly changing, a way that doesn't really last, right? A way that doesn't have a really deep connection to it. It's just kind of transitory desires, transitory moods and emotions that maybe the two of you used to harmonize with each other, but there was nothing deeper than that. And I think it's progressed to the point now where whatever's going on with this person, they are expressing their negative moods in such a way that it affects you very deeply, right? So they're maybe not aware of how strongly they project their negative emotions, and then it's manipulating your moods too. And again, I say manipulation, but I don't think it's a conscious act, really, right? I think it's just that they're unable to control their emotions at times, and that affects you very deeply. That changes the way you feel, right? And so when you're with this person, you can't help but taking on their negative moods. And, a negative and a negative aren't really going to connect, right? So I think that's part of why we have so much turmoil, so much animosity, so much fighting going on, is because there's this incompatibility with these emotions. There's really no way to harmonize that. And it's no one's fault, really. I think it's just an immaturity or an inexperience with this kind of emotional energy. And maybe this person's a lot younger than you, but I feel like there is this emotional immaturity there that is just kind of creating this environment of just a lot of negative emotions and an inability to really keep those in check, or to recognize how we are projecting those onto other people, right? And that causes problems. The next card that I see, and this is, again, this really is kind of, everything's really syncing up here in this reading today. Okay? And I hope that, you don't take offense to this reading. I hope I'm not being too, too crude in how I'm explaining this. But now we see this Four of Wands. This is in the position of your fears, worries, concerns. What's going to be causing you some anxiety this week? Well, Four of Wands is about the ending of a cycle, right? The closing up of that loop, the tying up of the loose ends, the wheel comes full circle, and then the journey continues, of course. But right now, in this moment, in this snapshot of reality, you have to get over your fear of this, your reluctance of this, the anxiety that this causes you, closing out this cycle, being done with this phase of your life, right? This thing's run its course. Cycle is completed. It's done. It's over. But I think, again, just like we saw with some of these other cards, it's not something you're really ready to accept, ready to admit, or ready to take action on. But it's right here in the cards, yet again, another indication that this cycle is over. You have to accept that. You have to recognize that. Okay? But the great thing about the Four of Wands is it's a constant renewal. It's a constant regeneration of energy out into the external world. So one cycle is completed, one round of experience is completed, but instantaneously there are more opportunities being created. Another cycle is beginning. Okay? Every ending is a beginning. Every doorway is, both an exit and an entrance, right? So this is something that I think needs to be embraced. And while it is, I feel like giving you some anxiety to acknowledge this reality, I think it is for your best, in your best interest, to accept this, recognize this. And the very next card that we have after this acceptance, right, after this realizing that the cycle is over, right, that this phase of your life is completed, and new opportunities are beginning, right, the wheel continues to roll, we have the Fool card. And so the Fool is really saying that, look, all of this energy is just it's negative, it's really condensed, it feels really, really constricted. It feels like it's a lot of energy that's just being forced into a really narrow passageway. But once you can squeeze through that passageway, it's just an expansive, exploding opportunity, this energy, this freedom. It's just a really light and airy quality. And I think this is going to feel like the relief of a burden, right? The release of this energy. It's going to feel very freeing. It's going to feel very light, right? It's just going to be like on a cloud, like floating almost. And I think this is that freedom. This is the relief of all of this tension and the release of all of this energy, all of this negative energy that we see. It's going to feel really good once you get through this doorway, right? Once you take that exit, I think you're going to feel liberated. You're going to feel just very good. It's going to be a relief, okay? And you're going to have that freedom, that liberation. And it's going to be, again, with these opportunities, with these new doorways, a new cycle of your life is beginning. And the possibilities for that are endless. It really is kind of up to you where you're going to take your life and what kind of direction you want to go. But you don't have to decide that right now. I think the main point of this Fool card is to allow yourself to go through this doorway and feel this liberation, this relief and release. Okay? I think that's where, and the Fool is just beginning that next journey, right? That next phase of life, that next cycle that's starting. The Fool here is just setting out. The Fool just came through that doorway and is about to begin the next adventure. But we don't know what that adventure is yet. Maybe this mystery card will tell us. Maybe that's something that we'll see in the next weekly reading for you. So please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that. You can get the notifications when these come out. So the Fool's just starting the journey, but it's just that, it's that feeling when you first walk out of your door and it's just, you feel good. It's the cool air outside. Maybe it's the morning time. You feel light. You feel energetic, but not anxious, right? You feel calm, but you feel alive. And I think you're going to have that feeling of liberation, of just an expanding awareness, an expanding sense of freedom and joy and opportunity. Okay. So let's look now at this confirmation card, this mystery card. What could it be? What do we think it might be? Well, this could be something like a Four of Discs, I think, showing that you really have to focus on your foundational energies in your life, right? Your financial security, your domestic security, your physical well-being, right? Get all of those ducks in a row. Take care of all of your basic needs. Make sure that you are set, right? And you'll be ready for this new opportunity, the next phase of your life. Could be another major arcana card, could be an Empress, could be an Emperor, right? Showing you taking charge of your life, you really being the authority, using your power, your energy, your confidence to do what needs to be done. Let's see what it is. Okay, Devil energy. Yeah, this is, this is kind of like that Emperor card. It's kind of like taking charge and putting in the work and the effort and having the confidence to do what needs to be done for the rest of your life, But this Devil energy to me is kind of right in line with that Fool. This Fool is that freedom, that liberation, that expansion, that just light and joyous kind of feeling. And then it becomes that Devil energy, which is just that insane passion, lust, creativity, that ambition. It's just like, now that you have this freedom, you have this moment where you just take a deep breath, right? And let it out. You feel good, you feel calm, you feel kind of light on your feet. Experience that moment. Enjoy that moment, because what is coming next is just this insane drive, passion, ambition, this energy about you that just really wants to get out there and create. It's like you're going to feel so much excitement, so much just enthusiasm for whatever is coming next. You're going to be anxious to go out there and create things in your life. This is that creative energy that knows no bounds, that cannot be stopped. There are no breaks, right? And it's just that excitement. I don't know how to describe it, but I think we've all felt that before. When we're just so excited to get started with something, we're so enthusiastic. We don't know what we're going to do, where we're going to go, but we're ready for that adventure, right? And that is a very intense feeling. And I think this is coming after this Fool energy, after this period of like, okay, take a deep breath, you go through the doorway, you got that freedom, that liberation, you're looking out at the horizon. Now you start to feel this like urge to just start running, right? To just take off as much energy as you can. It's like that adrenaline rush. But this is one that is channeled into some sort of creativity, some sort of effort in the material world, right? So it could be an infinite number of things. I don't even want to guess. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think this passion, this energy is going to bring for you, or what you're going to go out and get or create with this Devil energy. Okay, so I think with this, it really is a confirmation that, look, there is a lot of this energy. Like I said, a lot of this energy that's being squeezed and restricted into a very narrow channel. But once we get through this doorway, get this Fool energy, that compressed energy is going to be able to expand. It's going to be just really intense. It's going to need some direction. It's going to need some follow through, which maybe we'll see in the next week's reading. But I think this is amazing. I think this is something really exciting to be looking forward to. And again, leave me some comments. Let me know what you think and how you're doing. We're going to take a look at this a little bit more in the extended version. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more about this Devil energy. See if we can unpack this a little bit. Gemini, thank you so much for letting me read for you today. This was your weekly tarot forecast on Dove and Serpent Tarot.